Hello, AleZilla here. Hololive debuted its first wave of English branch talents in 2020 under the name Hololive English Myth. The 5 talents of this first generation set the stage for future generations of Hololive English and further sparked the wave of intrigue into the VTubing sphere as a whole. Through their ups and downs, the Holo Myth girls have persevered these past 4 years, and why not celebrate with imagining these idols as Pokemon trainers? As always, I'll establish the ground rules for creating these Pokemon teams. First of all, each Hololive talent will be assigned one specific type, much like the gym leaders and Elite Four of the mainline Pokemon games. Secondly, all but one of the idol's Pokemon must match the trainer's assigned type. Last but not least, the one Pokemon not matching their trainer's assigned type should be picked based on the VTuber's lore, personality, and/or their aesthetic. For the record, I won't be including movesets or abilities when creating these Pokemon teams. While a longtime fan of the franchise, I'm by no means a competitive player. If you want to share movesets or abilities you'd think the chosen Pokemon would have, feel free to tell me in the comments below. But without further ado, let's introduce the first Holo Myth trainer. The first to debut in her generation, the ghost-reaping rapper and singer Mori-Calliope enters the scene. I'll be honest, the Holo Myth girls are probably the easiest of any idol generation to assign a Pokemon type. Most of the types for the girls are pretty self-explanatory. Callie, then, logically has the ghost type as her specialty. Dhelmise takes the first spot on Callie's team, with the Grim Reaper's recent song dropped to accompany the 106th volume of One Piece. Dhelmise is a no-brainer as being part of her roster. The next Pokemon is Marshadow, a rare creature that's able to fully hide itself in shadow, to the point of being considered a myth. Depending on her workload, Callie can similarly act out of sight. Her stream schedule sometimes sparse as she gets deeper into her personal projects. It just makes it all the more exciting for Deadbeats when she drops a new single from the shadows. Shedinja is the third Pokemon, a glass cannon of a team member. I think the contrast of a very delicate Pokemon that can be fairly powerful, and Callie, who is seemingly stoic but with a kind heart, makes this choice work. But maybe that's just me. Fourth in Callie's lineup is Hisuian Typhlosion, which would make for a great companion for the Grim Reaper when taking out people's souls. Callie would just need to make sure to keep her Pokemon close, as it may space out and get itself lost. The fifth Pokemon is Duskull, a similarly ghoulish creature that can help Callie in her reaping duties. Also, what better than Duskull to represent Callie's fans, the Deadbeats? Finally, Callie's non-type matching Pokemon and 6th team member is Jigglypuff. Anyone familiar with the Pokemon anime will know how synonymous this Pokemon is with singing. I can't think of a better match for the rapping, singing powerhouse of an idol. Now it's time to bring out the cheerful phoenix herself, the KFP owner, Takanashi Kiara. Her passion for being an idol and her work, as well as her lore, makes the fire type the perfect fit for Kiwawa. I mean, how else is she going to get her fried chicken to the masses? Let's start with Kiara's first Pokemon, Blaziken. Aside from Blaziken being one of the few chicken Pokemon within the franchise, the Pokemon's ability to leap at great heights would match well with Kiara's incredible dancing skills. The second member of Kiara's team is her non-matching type Pokemon, Altaria. According to Bulbapedia, Altaria has an excellent singing voice that's said to lull whoever listens into a dreamlike state. The Phoenix Idol can be said to have a similar effect to our audience and to the KFP. The third team member, Darmanitan, is representative of how much passion Kiara puts into her idol activities and her streaming. As long as Kiara doesn't burn the stage with 2,500 degree Fahrenheit heat, like Darmanitan is capable of doing, we should all be fine. Probably. Oricorio is the fourth Pokemon of the Phoenix Idol, specifically the Baile form, which is inspired by a Spanish dance form of the same name. I've already mentioned Kiara's talent when it comes to dancing, and there can never be too many backup dancers. The fifth Pokemon is Pansear, a Pokemon that Bulbapedia describes as roasting its own food before consuming. I can't think of a better fry cook to help Kiwawa with her fast food chain than this fiery monkey. The last Pokemon of Kiara's team is Arcanine, a semi-legendary creature known for grace and beauty. It makes sense that another mythic figure would find kinship with Arcanine. As the phoenix rises out of the ashes, a more ethereal figure emerges from the shadows to draw cute art. Yes, it's the priestess known for her entourage of takodachis, Ninomae Ina'nis. When considering Ina's lore and the serene atmosphere she brings to her streams, I feel that the psychic type is the best at representing both aspects. Ina's first team member is Chimecho. Other than being adorable, Chimecho's ability to use its own chime as a prehensile limb is similar to the many tentacles that Ina carries with her. The Pokemon's musical motifs as well works for the Eldritch Priestess Idol. The second Pokemon of Ina's team is Indeedee. Its gentle nature and determination to help their trainer would fit well with the idol's own easygoing attitude. Who wouldn't want a little creature that helps you maintain order in this chaotic universe called life? Alright, enough doom and gloom. I'll move on to the third Pokemon, Inkay. It's a squid-inspired creature, which undoubtedly works alongside Ina and her Tentacult. It also connects to the mysterious being Ina serves, as Inkay can subdue opponents by hypnotizing them with its light-emitting spots. Unlike the horror gods that are beyond comprehension, however, Inkay uses this technique to get out of battle scot-free. This next pick may be somewhat controversial, but hear me out. While the Pokemon Unknown was semi-legendary within the second generation of games, the creature is so common within the ruins of Alph that you would need a dismal catch rate to not capture these guys. With that being said, Unknown matches Ina's lore and aesthetic so well that it'd be a shame not to include it on her team. The priestess has her own hidden power ability after all. Next is Ina's non-type matching Pokemon, the fairly average-looking Octillery. Look, there's only so many octopus-like Pokemon in the franchise, okay? Give me a break. The last Pokemon on the team roster is Natu. With its large, somewhat vacant eyes and chunky round form, I think Ina would have a hard time turning this Pokemon down from joining her team. It's about time for the meme shark herself to make an appearance. You know her, you love her, it's Holo Myth's own Gwar Gura. One of the most prominently known EN-VTubers of the industry, Gura's water typing is as obvious as her shark-like features. But before the water types are revealed, let's go ahead and get Gura's non-type matching Pokemon, the iconic Pikachu. Sorry, Altair, but I couldn't pass up pairing up a Pokemon icon with a similarly popular Gura. If y'all haven't already, please go watch my video on Holostars EN and see what Pokemon the Tempest HQ boys are armed with. Second in the Shark Girls team lineup is Mudkip. Hey, you like Mudkips, right? I'm sure a meme lord like Gura would want the meme Pokemon on her side as well. The next Pokemon, Corfish, represents the shrimps in Gura's group of fans, the Chumbuds. Much like Simps Online, Corfish are numerous and can be found even in the most polluted environments. Gura's fourth Pokemon is her favorite, Magikarp. You know, it makes sense that the shark would want a Magikarp. It can be extra rations alongside her shark mascot, Bloop. Fifth is Sharpedo, called the gangster of the sea according to Bulbapedia. Well, if Gura's roasts and teasings of her colleagues are anything to go by, I think Sharpedo would be humbled pretty quickly. Last but not least, Pyukumuku is the last member of Gura's team. The Pokemon's gross ability to upchuck its own organs to attack enemies would be too much for many a trainer, but I somehow think the meme shark could handle it. Besides, Pyukumuku is very cute, and its slimy exterior can be used to heal sunburns according to the Pokedex. A very valuable, if somewhat disgusting, teammate. At long last, we've come to the last member of Holo Myth. It's the time-traveling detective idol, Amelia Watson. I had a tough time figuring out the Pokemon type that best match Amelia in terms of her lore and personality. After thinking it over, I've decided on the ground type, since she tries to dig up dirt on unsolved mysteries. The first Pokemon, Bunnelby, is a powerful little digger that has boundless stamina. This bunny will need to be quick on its feet if it wants to keep up with Ame's antics. Next is Diglett, the cute mole Pokemon. According to Bulbapedia, Diglett can be considered either helpful or pests to farmers, as they both help till the fields, but tend to eat up the vegetable crops. I'd say that much the same could be said about Ame, helping her gen mates with IT issues one moment, and pulling pranks on those same gen mates the next. The detective's third team member is Sandile. Though not wearing a detective outfit like the investigators, Sandile still fits the bill as a representation of Ame's subset of fans. Just don't ask this Pokemon to help with investigation, as it's fairly inept at hunting its own prey. Rhyhorn takes the fourth spot on Ame's roster, a Pokemon as equally stubborn and determined as its trainer. Honestly, if the Pokemon world was real, I think the detective would go into Rhyhorn racing in the Kalos region. But we should move on to Ame's fifth team member, the goofy-looking Stunfisk. Something creepy I learned from Stunfisk's Bulbapedia entry is that it will smile while it electrocutes its victims. While I don't believe Ame would be quite so delighted in the misery of others, her mischievous streak does come across somewhat similar. However, it's time for the final Pokemon, Ame's non-type matching team member, Stoutland. This Pokemon has it all, from the signature mustache that matches Ame's design, to the Pokemon being a definition of a good boy, as it goes out of its way to help others. For an idol that is known to be highly supportive of her friends and colleagues, Stoutland would be in good company. With that said, we finally arrived at the end of today's video. Are there any Pokemon you think would work better with your Holo Myth Oshis? Let me know down in the comments below, and feel free to like and subscribe if you're so kind. I hope to see you all again soon. Toodaloo!